Hi, Henk Akkermans, Supply Network Dynamics, Chapter 10, clip number 6, base case behavior or normal behavior. What's normal behavior? Normal behavior that you trust each other a little bit, say at 70%, you haven't worked a lot together with each other, and yes, if it so happens you will cheat. Well, under stable demand, which never happens, you quickly grow into really trustful partners. Oh, how reliable are they? Please note that a lot of this depends on how much you trust each other. If one of the two parties doesn't, well, has a lower level of trust of the other side, it's still okay. So if the supplier doesn't really quite trust the customer, if then the customer also not, well, 50-50 trust the supplier, it already gets a lot more complicated and the two may engage in a much more difficult period, but in the end it will all be okay. So this is very much the base case. Now what happens, and notice that this was a perfectly predictable demand. Notice what happens when the demand size increases with, let's say, 20%. Which can happen any year, as we've seen repeatedly in this chapter. You do see then that there's a dip. The dip for the supplier is greater than the dip for the customer. And this is also found back in the, let's not go here because that's confusing. Sorry, a lot of noise here. You also see that in the physical supply chain things change. If you look at up here, you see that actually production starts was a lot higher than a lot lower, and in the order rate, this is what the final customer noticed that did. This is what the supplier then thought that the customer B then thought that happened. And here you already see the variations in the forecasts. So it's quite easy to confuse this, this supply chain. If you then get a little bit further down the road, say 25%, the fluctuations get really wild. So in both cases, the customer B can't really help the fact that he or she is asking a lot more. It was generated by raw market, but the result is that the supplier A no longer trusts B and doesn't do so for the whole period, and B goes through some pretty wild fluctuations in its trust of the supplier A. You also see wild fluctuations in the production stock, much greater than the 25% increase that was actually asked for by the end market. So yes, supply chains are unstable, but if we start to look at here at all the forecastings, etc., if we start alluding or deriving all sorts of inner motivations from actual behavior by supply chain partners, things get a lot more messy indeed.